Welcome to The Deciding Point, our Cracked Racquets recap of the biggest storylines going on throughout the tennis world. Another exceptional week of tennis in the book. A championship weekend in Miami saw Hubie Hurkacz win his first Masters title. Ashley Barty go back-to-back. Want to recap all of that action, preview the first week of the 2021 clay court season, and then talk about a changing of the guard in American men's tennis for today's Deciding Point. Just going to be me steering the ship, but of course, to catch up on everything, you can check out our website, crackedrackets.com. With that in mind, Westhoff, roll the credits. Let's start today's show. For this week's Deciding Point, I wanted to talk about a subject that I certainly find interesting, and I think a lot of you Cracked Racquets fans will as well. Now, for the first time since 2011, the ATP rankings this week will not feature John Isner in the top 30. It's something I discussed on one of our mini break pods, but Isner, losing the final points from his 2019 Miami Open run, drops out of the top 30 for the first time since 2011. That snaps the fourth longest active streak on tour. Who did Isner trail? Nadal, Djokovic, and Federer. That's pretty elite company. Now, with this news as well, Isner supplanted as the top American in the singles rankings by Taylor Fritz. And look, he had been supplanted before. Jack Sock had his run. Sam Querrey has had some nice runs. But this time it feels like it's going to last. This time with the presence of Fritz, Tiafoe, Paul, Opelka, Korda, Nakashima, Brooksby on his tails. It does, Sandgren you can throw in there as well, Kudla, Sock. It does feel like the generational shift in American men's tennis has finally happened, and it's just worth appreciating what John Isner has accomplished throughout the course of his career. Reached a career high of number 8 a few years ago, has the one Masters 1000 title, which he won at the 2018 Miami Open. He also has 4 runner-up appearances, all at hard courts. He's a guy who has 15 titles in his career. That leads all Americans in the who have competed in the past decade. He has wins over Federer. He has wins over Nadal. You look at his records against top 10 players. He, 2-8 against Federer, 2-10 against Djokovic, 1-7 against Nadal, 2-4 against Roddick, a guy who was, 5-1 against Milos Raonic, 3-2 against Stan Wawrinka, 4-8 against Juan Martín del Potro. Why am I reading all of those off for you? Because I think it's important to discuss John Isner's ceiling when looking at the context of his career. And of course, that's not a pun. Ceiling, he's a 7-footer. Ha 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 ha. No, his ceiling as a tennis player and what his serve allowed him to do. And for his career, career hold percentage of 92.8%. I'm going to venture out there and say, if that's not the best in ATP Tour history, it's in the top 3. He's right up there, year in, year out with the Raonics, with the Delpos, with the Federers of the world in terms of holding serve. And yes, the rest of his game is limited. You're never going to fall in love with his ground strokes. You're never going to love aesthetically the way Isner's game works. And it's funny because despite his size, I actually think he's most comfortable when he is 7 feet behind the baseline. And you have to give him a lot of credit for improving his volleys, becoming a competent volleyer, becoming a more competent returner, and continuing to become better and better as a mover. You see him without a shirt from time to time. There's not an ounce of fat on John Isner, and that's a testament to how hard he works, how much he puts into his body, into his craft. And again, I don't really care right now about your thoughts of his off-court comments, your thoughts on his political beliefs. I'm talking purely about him as a tennis player. When you think about in a single match, if they're both playing their best tennis, who is more likely to win the match? A John Isner or a Roberto Bautista Agut? A John Isner or a David Goffin? A John Isner or, a Jo-Wilfried Tsonga? Tsonga might be the exception to that, but you would probably say John Isner, right? Because when Isner serves well, it doesn't matter the surface, it doesn't matter the opponent, it doesn't matter the scenario. He gives himself a chance to win. And he plays tiebreakers. And yeah, sometimes the tiebreakers go against him. Sometimes they go his way. Sometimes he hits that big return winner down the line. Sometimes he misses all of his returns and he doesn't win the tiebreaker. But while it's not a Hall of Fame career, only the 1 semifinal, 2 quarterfinals at majors, yes, a Masters title is impressive, 15 titles overall, sensational. there's a higher standard than that to get into the Tennis Hall of Fame. But John Isner was really freaking good throughout the prime of his career. And of course, his developmental story, going to the University of Georgia, playing college tennis, is something we will always sympathize with and always enjoy here at Cracked Racquets in particular. But there's a reason he had success against top 10 guys. There's a reason you never want to face him, is because on the wrong day, if he's serving well, it's really, really hard to beat him. And again, it's a testament to his hard work that he became better as a volleyer, better as a returner, that he put forward the consistency of his career. 10 years inside the top 30, folks. There's not a long list of players who have accomplished that, certainly in the past decade, but throughout the courses of their careers, under 50, I would imagine he's one of those guys who just his longevity, his his skill set applied across surfaces, applied year after year, and you're 7 feet tall, very easy to get injured. Yeah, he had some lingering injuries, but more often than not, John Isner was there. He showed up, and availability is always the best ability, as the cliche goes. And John Isner was always available for American men's tennis fans. Did we embrace him like we should have? No, probably not. But it's the end of an era, with Isner losing this ranking to Fritz, who is clearly a part of that next-gen cohort. And I just wanted to take today's deciding point to remind everyone there's a reason John Isner was in the top 30 for more than a decade.